This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's hope that we can enjoy today's show too. This is my favorite period of my wrestling fandom. I had just gotten back into wrestling in August of '96, and man, I was just knee deep. I think you can go back and look at this era of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, and man, these guys are just on fire. Stone Cold is now on the rise, and all of a sudden Sid comes out of nowhere. Of course, you and I have talked about this pay-per-view for a long time because, as we know, the rumor and innuendo is originally this was supposed to be a trilogy between Shawn Michaels and Vader that went SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. But plans change, Conrad. That's what we say here on the show all the time. So instead it became Sid. So even though the show is called In Your House It's Time, which of course was what Vader used to say, he's not actually on the card. Instead, Sid is our world champion. It's one of the great sort of shoulda, woulda, couldas of WWE, is it not?
Well, Conrad, sometimes things happen. Now, and on any given night, anything can happen anywhere in the world. So, I mean, you know, Sid, we thought, you know, hey, man, Vader's on a roll. He might beat Shawn. So you go with that. But then Sid came along and Sid became #1 contender and he won the WWE championship. It's just shit happens sometimes.
I want to mention, too, that in this era, you know, this is very much the pay-per-view era. So you had to get way in advance your posters and your promotional material and all that stuff to Viewers Choice and In Demand and all those different sort of pay-per-view services and middlemen, if you will, for the cable systems and satellite TV. So you sort of had to know where you were going ahead of time. And at this point, you're sort of stuck with In Your House It's Time. Maybe in a different era, we could have made that adjustment and it would have been called something else, maybe, huh?
Yeah. I mean, you know, look, it was during the time that you usually had to have all of your promotional materials to the different cable companies, and you would send them to, we would ultimately be responsible for sending them to the cable companies so that they could then put them and air them to get people to order your pay-per-view in advance. But we were able to do that, and you were able to be 90 days out in front and get all your materials out there. And if things changed, then we would send promos and send things to the cable company directly. But that wasn't good enough. In addition to sending out new materials, a lot of times we would send people directly to the cable companies where we had sent tapes before and pick up the old tapes so that they couldn't run the old stuff.
Got it.
So it's not good enough to just say, hey, here's new, put this in your rotation and this is what you air. No, we would say, okay, here's what you air, but send us back the other stuff.
Let's talk about some other things that you guys are going to be shooting, including an angle for Ahmed Johnson. His return, according to Meltzer, is set for the Raw tapings on 12/16. Of course, we know it's actually going to happen here at In Your House. He's going to do a bit of an in-ring promo with Vince McMahon. And it says his first house show will be 12/26 in Chicago. And he mentions the idea right now is to not book a match against Farouk for as long as possible to create more anticipation of such a match. That's sort of old school. When you have a match you think people will pay for, you don't let them touch, right?
Well, it's a great idea if you can actually pull it off. And sometimes it's harder than it seems, but without a doubt, yeah, I think a lot of times the longer that you can keep people away and have that anticipation.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.